I have a question for you. When was the last time that your feet wandered off a man-made surface? If you have to think about that, it's probably too long. This series will help you get out there yourself. We'll show you the routes and how to walk them safely. So forget the car. We're going for a walk on the wild side. And if you make the effort, the journey will leave you wide-eyed and inspired.
We're going on a spectacular journey through some of the loveliest landscapes in the country. It's a glorious chance to roam footloose and fancy-free with people who are passionate about heading off the beaten track. In the coming weeks, we'll walk the wilderness of the High Mourns, find adventure on the world-famous North Antrim coast, broaden your horizons on Fairhead and feast your eyes on beautiful Benevena Mountain. There's also a website to help get you out there. I'll give you the address later. But first, our trek begins in the Wild West, far off the beaten track in the Cuilcagh Mountain Park. The highest mountain in Fermanagh dominates a county far more famous for its lakelands. At 665 metres, that's well over 2,000 feet, Cuilcagh is remote and starkly beautiful. It's surrounded by one of the finest upland bogs in Europe. In fact, this is such a rich and varied landscape that it's a global geopark, among the very best in the world. Small wonder then that it's the big attraction at Fermanagh's first ever walking festival. They've come from all over the county to register at the Florence Court Estate, and there are routes for everyone, from serious walkers to beginners. I've signed up for the big one, the 15-kilometre round trip to the roof of Fermanagh.
Cuilcagh walk's fairly difficult and challenging, even in a dry time like this. It is wet, so I would recommend that everybody should have gaiters, strong boots, waterproofs, enough food for the day, and at least a litre of water or a litre of liquid of some description.
Robin Ferguson lives for life in the hills. He's an instructor at the nearby Gortatole Activity Centre.
Safe.
Equipping others to get to grips with the mountains he loves.
There you go. I developed my leadership and navigational skills and also my qualifications through Gortatole, which is the local outdoor education centre. And once you've got that qualification, it gives you the confidence to go up into the hills, even on a misty day, take people high up into the mountains and have that confidence to know that you can find your way down and that you can manage the situation if it turns bad.
We've chosen a perfect day, but bad weather is always something to consider in the mountains. We're taking a straightforward route to the summit. The walk begins and ends at the Cuilcagh Mountain Car Park, just past the entrance to the Marble Arch Caves. There's a fairly easy start along a stone track, climbing all the way until it hits the bog. From there, fingerpost signs mark the route to the base of the cliffs, beside Loch Atona. Then it's a steep climb to the summit ridge and onto the cairn that marks the peak.
I've become a very sociable walker. I don't often walk on my own. I love being able to bring people into the mountains and share that experience with them, either young groups, Duke of Edinburgh, collegiate school groups and things like that.
With a 6-hour walk ahead of us, at least the first stage is a doddle.
This is the easy bit.
This is what we call the Yellow Brick Road. It's the Cuilcagh Mountain Park Lane, and it is easy. It's an easy way to get across the bog.
Aye, because it's steady underfoot, isn't it? And it's really the Legnabrochy Trail.
Legnabrochy Trail.
And that means the Badger's Hollow.
Badger's Hollow, and it's good going. Takes us all the way up to the 500 metre mark on Cuilcagh. And then we leave the trail and get out onto some real hiking.
We're all up for that, and there's a wonderful sense of anticipation in the mountain air.
Walking in Fermanagh is among the best wilderness walking that you'll find anywhere in Ireland. The geopark's a unique place to go walking because of the rich variation of habitat, the limestone pavement in the lower reaches near the caves, the rivers that all run into limestone gorges and then disappear down into the caves, the peat blanket bog, which is absolutely vast and has been waymarked right up to Cuilcagh summit now.
The brilliant thing for us today is, and this is really important, that when the cloud comes down, we'll be deprived of a view, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's going to remain really, really clear up there.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Cuilcagh's clear at the moment, so we've got to get up there now as fast as possible.
Okay.
Okay.
Walking is travel as nature intended, on a human scale. You could drive this track in a few minutes, but it takes us over an hour, just long enough to sharpen the appetite.
Okay, folks, we're going to have a break here. We've walked 4 kilometres, so I think we deserve some 11s. So this is a small meal, maybe a snack, and what we're doing, we're putting fuel into you.
It's a welcome break and a chance to share the experience.
Has this been one of your sort of long-term goals? You're looking at that mindset, I got to get up there?
Yeah, absolutely. I've lived here for nearly 5 years now, and this is my golden moment.
You can do it at all different levels. You can go fast, you can go slow, you know, you go at your own pace, really. It doesn't matter what age you are, you know, you can do it, you know, whether you're a toddler even, you know, or, you know, as long as you can walk.
We've done the easy bit. Now the walk becomes more of a challenge. You need the boots and gaiters when you hit the bog below the mountain. Just follow the signposts and you'll stay on course.
The waymarked ways are really to keep people safe. Once you leave a track, you will have finger posts that will guide you down or up from the mountain if the weather turns bad. And it's a way of guaranteeing that people don't get lost, because it would be very, very grim ordeal to be lost out there, and it would be very, very tough for the rescue services to find a party that would be lost out on that huge, vast area of peatland.
You know, there's a great line in Seamus Heaney's poem Bogland, where he says the ground itself is kind, black butter, melting and opening underfoot. It's very soft and gentle, isn't it? He wasn't talking about a slog across Cuilcagh mountain bog though.
Yet the rewards are spectacular. We're moving in an impressive landscape.
But it's so awesome from here when you look at the boulder field.
I know, those boulders are bigger than buses.
There's a few of them bigger than houses. It just makes you in awe of nature, doesn't it? Absolutely beautiful.
The view is big and the sky infinite, but far below we're sweating and struggling like ants, crawling our way to the top.
This is the head down bit. You watch every footstep that you're taking, and life recedes way back there, Robin, doesn't it? The world is being left behind.
It's so small, you look back.
And it's a good tramp up here, isn't it?
It's tight going. Steep ground, and the mud and the landslide doesn't help either. But we're doing fine. We're almost up to 550 metres, so doing well. There's 2 types of walking, Daryl. There's continuous steady walking, and there's boom and bust. Some people like boom and bust. Go fast, stop, go fast, stop. Depends on what suits you best.
I'm afraid I'm a boom and bust kind of a man. I don't know what that says about me, but there you are.
Is this your nature, Daryl?
Impetuous to a fault.
Anxious to get to the summit?
Yeah.
Well, the terrain would really surprise you when you get up here because it changes so dramatically. It's like another world.
So here we are on the summit ridge of Cuilcagh Mountain. Round of applause. We're not quite at the summit cairn, but we're 2,000 feet above the plains of Fermanagh, a stunning location.
On the summit, we capture the moment, savouring a natural high on a Stone Age burial cairn. This is the life.
You know, I don't think we celebrate enough what world-class scenery we have in Northern Ireland. And I know that everybody who's climbed this mountain today feels exactly the same way.
Well, I think this is the wow factor for Fermanagh, definitely, because I've lived here for all my life in Fermanagh and I haven't actually been up here before, and I really think that anybody who hasn't been here is missing something. So I advise everybody get their poles and come for a walk.
Raymond Hazard, that climbed Everest, is my brother. This is my Everest. This is as high as I've been before.
It is just beyond my wildest dreams. I had no idea that we could have seen as far from up here. It's just magical.
Really is a fantastic view. Just something you would never think, you could get up to this height and see right all over the countryside.
In your own county?
Yes, in your own county.
The rock formations up here are strange and beautiful. They look almost like they could be modern art, like Henry Moore sculpture. But what we're really looking at here is wind and rain and frost on 330 million year old rock. And look how soft it is. Tremendous.
Okay, folks, we've just stopped for a couple of minutes to look at this amazing geological feature. It's a huge boulder, absolutely massive, could be 20-ton weight, and it was dropped off by the glacier around about 10,000 years ago. But the amazing thing is, that it's sitting on a little boulder about the size of your fist. If you look right underneath it, you can see that it's actually perched on a little small round boulder, so it's been sitting there for 10,000 years. It's just quite amazing, isn't it?
For most of us, this is the first time we've climbed Cuilcagh, and as we retrace our steps, there's a shared sense of achievement, even triumph. We've all been moved by a mountain. The limestone country at the foot of Cuilcagh is pockmarked with the telltale signs of a landscape that's hidden from view. Just above the famous marble arch show caves, the rivers disappear into sinkholes, dissolving the rock, creating a magical underworld. If you know where to look. I've come to Monaster Gorge with cave expert Tim Fogg, looking for a beautiful cavern that's tucked away right beside the car park where we started our walk.
We're just going down into the gorge here, Daryl, and then upstream a bit to a little cave called Temple Bourne, which I suppose roughly translated is the White Chapel.
It always fascinates me to think that things that you see now could have been very, very different in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really, really very possible that we're walking up now what was once a cave and that this whole gorge was roofed. There's lots of little bits of evidence that leads you to think that.
Yes.
And Tim should know. He's a very modern caveman whose expertise is in big demand.
Just the top bit, just the blockhouse at the top. Yeah, there's a man. I've just been very lucky. Over time, I've been involved with a number of events to make films underground and on cliffs and in trees, because they use ropes to get there to stay safe. The way the water's found, we're following it. We took Kate Humble and a guy called Steve Backshall, we took them into 4 caves around Britain and put them really through a lot of interesting caving, underwater and down huge pitches and so on.
Okay. It was caving that first brought Tim to Fermanagh 30 years ago, and he's been exploring here ever since.
Yeah, completely roofed.
We're following the Owen Breen River upstream to find the cave, first discovered by a group of ramblers early last century.
That is fabulous.
Yeah.
Like, it's like some tropical ravine.
When you come here, you just see the entrance there, but we will need our torches. So.
Okay.
You have absolutely no idea what's in there.
No.
And so it's going to be a totally new experience, creeping into a crack in the rock.
Yeah.
And finding something really quite beautiful and extraordinary.
Okay, well, come on, let's get on with it. I want to see it.
A bit of a scramble up in here.
Okay.
The water that carved Temple Bourne is long gone, but caves can be extremely dangerous places. The best advice is never go in alone or unprepared.
Hey. Fantastic.
It's great. It gets a bit bigger in here now.
Oh, you would never know it was as big as that.
That's sweet.
Isn't that just exquisite? It
Yes.
looks, in a way, Tim, almost like it's someone's been in here with the icing sugar, applying it all over the walls. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the pure white is just weathered limestone. It's pure limestone, and then the surface is sort of soft, and it's just that pure weathered limestone. Gives it the lovely whiteness.
This is the big high thing for you. You know, you spend your life travelling the world, exploring caves, getting people like me into them, and this is just on your backyard.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. But I mean, I don't know if you can get the feeling of what it would be like if you knew nobody had been here before. And you come around that corner and you look into a place like this and you know that nobody has ever stepped there before. That's what drives me.
Really?
I mean, and the possibility is there to do it in Fermanagh, and that's just keeps me going.
It's like the final frontier, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
either deep sea or space.
Yeah.
It's easy to see the attraction and why Tim's still searching for the big one in the heart of Fermanagh.
We know that underneath Cuilcagh there is a vast cave taking a lot of water from the east side to the west side. We put dye in one end and it comes out the other. So it's there and we're trying to find our way into it. If I find something big in the far part of the world, it's nothing like as good as finding something small here in Fermanagh. You know, 100 metres of new cave here is really good stuff. Much better than a kilometre in China.
We're off on another hiking trail to Benochlin Mountain. The peak of the Speaking Horse gets its name from the mythical white beast who tells fortunes and haunts these slopes. It's a cracking location for a walk, just off the Enniskillen to Swanlin Bar Road. It starts and finishes at the end of a forest track, which gives easy access to the foot of the mountain. It's a great introduction to hill walking with the minimum of effort. It rises to only 370 metres, but what it lacks in height, it more than makes up for with huge panoramic views of the entire county. And I'm travelling in elevated company, heading for the top with 3 adventurers who trained here to conquer Mount Everest.
Great view over Upper Loch Earn there.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Neil Elliott from Ballina-Mallard has climbed the highest mountains on 6 of the 7 continents. He now has Antarctica in his sights. Trillic publican Fergal Corrigan has come a long way since his first ascent here in P5. He's climbed all over Europe and loves ice routes in the Alps. And their pal Raymond Hassard is serious about the mountains too. He's reached the top on 5 continents, a far cry from the farm near Enniskillen. And they love home ground.
Raymond and I started from school as such, and we met together through the Duke of Edinburgh Award at school. And then we went on to Gorda Toll, where we met Fergal, at the age of probably 17. And we were, had a like interest in mountaineering and climbing, getting out there doing things, and we've developed it, and we've been all around the world. Whenever we decided to go off to Everest, it was brilliant to go off with such a group of, my 2 best friends, and you knew you were always safe with them, and it's just a passion we've had, and it's been great. It's worked really well. The first time I came up here was with an uncle and my old man, and it was an expedition in itself with a heather, and that was probably as tall as I was back then. But I remember finding money on the summit, that obviously someone had lost, and they spun me some story about ferries leaving money out or something like that. So I kept searching the whole time I was up here.
The likes of this on your back doorstep is brilliant. It's a great stepping stone for anybody, any aspiring climber, or anybody who's just into hill walking, who wants to do a wee bit of rock climbing or whatever. You're in a fantastic area for that. With myself and Raymond and Neil, we sort of started off here, and it was like a natural progression for us to go to other places, but I suppose our friendship grew alongside our climbing talents as well, which was good.
The hiker's trail follows the contours around the mountain. We're making steady progress, but it was a very different story for Raymond when he first tackled Benauchlan as a 12-year-old Boy Scout.
I remember coming up the steep section and just wondering, would I ever get to the top? Well, was I able to get to the top? And every kind of hill that you climbed and you got round a corner, you seen another hill, and right the way up to the very top you weren't sure if you were going to get there. And then when you got to the top, you were elated. You'd actually climbed the mountain, and it was a big thing then.
It's possible.
Yeah, that's just great whenever you're a kid.
It definitely is.
Anybody who does, any kind of walking, whether it's just up and down the town, if they really want to get out into the hills, they can. And it's not that big of an effort. You can start off with forest tracks and then progress your way up to maybe something like Benauchlan here or Cuilcagh Mountain. And like you've seen there today, it was a fairly easy terrain. There's a track almost the whole way to the summit. And if you prepare yourself well, be sensible about it, and wear the correct footwear, and bring a hot flask with you, and bring rainproof clothes and what have you, it's a safe place to be.
And who knows where it all might end. Benauchlan was the spark that took the men to Tibet in 2006.
For years, going up through the various mountains that we climbed, we would have talked about the Himalayas and Everest. And it was a case of, I wouldn't go out there, just pay the money and join an expedition that I didn't know anybody in. If we were going together. We would support each other because we trusted each other. And the team spirit among us backed each other up, so we felt safe. We know our strengths and we know our weaknesses, and we can rely on each other, and we have done in the past. And certainly it was one of the major things of our success on Everest. I mean, we were going to have a good time if we got to the top or not.
But Everest is a killer, and thin oxygen at altitude took its toll on the boys, including Neil.
That is hard work. Hard work.
Well done.
I think I'm just going to go and lie down and die here.
We're as close friends as ever. The likes of any of our mountain experiences down the year, we've always made more friends out of them actually, and it's a great place. It can be difficult at times, but you know, you actually see people's real values, and whenever you get people together and times are tough and hard, and you know, everyone gels together, and that's always been the case. So if anything, we're better friends, not worse. We don't probably see as much of ourselves during the week. Now you get busier with life, but you know, there's always someone at the end of the phone. If you want to call someone, you're going to do something, there's always someone there to jump up and go and do something.
And with the gentle patchwork of rural Fermanagh laid out below us, we're on the last leg of the hike.
It's true, but you can take this mountain at whatever pace you want. If you want to train hard for a mountain like Everest, you just come here and you go faster and you go longer distances.
We usually took in Cuilcagh from here as well because we wanted big days and endurance, so we put on heavy packs and carried big weights so we could go to Everest as fit as possible. But it's great that it's on our doorstep, and here's us just coming up to the trig point now.
Yeah, and that's one for a Sunday afternoon to work off the dinner, isn't it? Anybody could manage that.
Absolutely, you know, an hour probably, something like that. You could be up here from the road down there, so it's brilliant, like, it really is.
It's just pretty as a picture. 360 degrees of beautiful Fermanagh, and the big mountain, the big boy, Cuilcagh, in the distance there.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Beautiful. Many's the time we tramp across those hills. Many more to come.
If you fancy a breath of fresh mountain air, why not give it a go? Just log on to bbc.co.uk/blueprint, where you'll find route maps, advice about how to tackle the walk safely, and useful links to rambling clubs in your area.
There's a definite sense of elation when you stand on top of a mountain. But you know, it's not what you see up here that really opens your eyes, it's what you feel. And there's a perspective on life and the landscape that really can leave you breathless and humbled.
For tickets and more information about the Blueprint experience, an interactive family event on the 19th and 20th of April in the BBC Blackstaff studio in Belfast, please call 0870 333 1918.